I did a video not too long ago, and I talked about how many men are conditioned not to communicate. It created a big uproar. And a lot of ladies, in this video, I talked about how you get a man to communicate by creating an emotionally safe place for him. And so in the comment section, I got tons of, hey, how do you do that? How do you do that, coach? So I wanted to do a video on the 5 ways that you create an emotionally safe place for a man to want to share. All right. One of my clients, she was in a relationship, but she said the guy would never share intimate things, the things that were close to his heart. And I asked her, I said, have you created this place? And she didn't know how. So I want to do this video. Now, trigger warning. Some of you aren't going to want to do these because you've never done them before, and you're going to say, what's the use? If he wants to communicate, he should communicate. What you don't understand is many of us have been taught that communicating our feelings are a sign of weakness. But a man who is romantically linked to you, he's into you, you have to create this place. And so let me show you how to do it. 5 ways. Number 1, you cannot weaponize what he tells you. Oh, sometimes you want him to share. You want him to tell you something. Hey, tell me this. Tell me about the time you robbed the bank. Tell me about this. But then when you get angry, what you do is you bring it up and you say, yeah, I remember the time your ass robbed that bank. And you begin weaponizing what he's told you. And so what he does is he says silently and sometimes out loud, I'm not telling you anything else. Number 2, you have to tell him what you want to create. Now, this is a little bit different because think about this. When you're talking to him and you want to create this environment, tell him what you're trying to do. Here's what I want to do, honey. I want to create an environment where we both can share. I want to create an emotionally safe place where you feel like you can share your deepest emotions, your deepest desires, your deepest fears. See, the reason why this is important is when you tell him what your goal is, when you tell him what you're wanting to create, what it says is that we're in partnership. What it says is that you have my best interests at heart, okay? And you cannot leave out this part because if you don't tell a person what you're wanting to build, what do? They don't know where you're going with this. They don't know what you're trying to do. Are you trying to trick me? They don't know. It's your responsibility. Tell him. And so he says, okay, I know what the end of this is. Not just you're trying to find out what's going on with me. Number 3, you want to create an emotionally safe place, you have to actively listen. A lot of people listen just to talk. You can't wait your turn? Yeah. And you didn't hear anything that he said. And what I mean by that is, some people look at this video, they'll say, well, he got to listen to me too. I'm not talking about you right now. I'm talking about how you create a safe place for a man. All right, that's what this video is about. And so when you actively listen, what does that mean? Part of active listening is body language. I get rid of the distractions. I focus on you. I lean into the conversation. Also, when I'm actively listening, a lot of people don't understand these techniques, but when you summarize what a person says, hey, what I hear you saying is this. Okay. Also, part of active listening is using what we call clarifying questions. Why did you do that? What did that mean to you? How did you overcome that? When you clarify something, what it says to the other person is you're really attempting to understand me and understand the circumstances surrounding whatever it is you're talking about. That's powerful. Number 4. You must employ a non-judgmental attitude. All right, so I got to tell you this whole thing. So my wife and I, we talk about what I used to do. I was Ken before I was Coach Ken. And I would tell her about some of the things that I did. We created our open line of communication, and sometimes we might be joking, and she would never throw it back. She would never say, how you do that? Why would you do that? What kind of person are you? No, because I wasn't the same person. But what she says is, I'm not judging the person you are on the person you used to be. If you're going to want to create a safe place, and all of us have done things, all of us, including you, who are looking at this. If you want a man to share, and you want him to share some of his deepest, darkest secrets, y'all, let's be honest. All of us have done things we're not proud of. We've all done things that if we could go back and do them over again, we'd do it different. But we can't undo what you've done, can't unsee what you've seen, and you can't unsay what you've said. So we have to take people at, where are you today? Who are you growing to be? Are you attempting to be a better version of yourself? If you are, then what happened in the past, it happened. Let's use the past as context. Use it in context of framing it as, here's where I was, here's where I am today. Look at the growth in between. When you frame it in context of what it was at the time, but where I am now, you use it to see where I've gone or where I'm going, okay? And last but definitely not least, number 5, the 5th way of making a man feel emotionally safe is get curious. And you say, what do you mean? My wife was always curious about who I am, where I want to go, what I want to do. Get curious about who he is, who he wants to become. And many times you can nurture him. See, a lot of us, especially men, if we're afraid, if we have fear, we won't tell you. We don't want to mention it because it's a sign of weakness. But what you can do is get curious about who he is. Get curious about his desires. Get curious about his fears. And when you get curious about it, I really want to know because I really want to know you. And anybody who really wants to know you, you feel safe with them. Especially if they do number 4, they create a non-judgmental platform for me to be me. And at the end of the day, if I can be me, I want to be around you.